part 2 to our journey of Never Obey Again through the completion of The End of an Era, which I've been looking forward to for a little while now that the album is released. Although it was funny when I covered, I think it was What If, and it might not have been included in the video, maybe it was, and I corrected it, but I mixed up the release date. I thought it was September 29th, so I waited a little more of a ways to go before we got the completion of the album, and yet it came a week ahead of what is going to be a deluge of new artists, whether they be new album debuts that I'm recognizing or just singles. There's a whole lot coming out that day, so it was funny that I mixed up when everything was coming out, and I forgot about, this one's a little earlier. But I've been looking forward to The End of an Era for a while now, and completion. I have been meditating over the idea, as I do with albums from time to time, is just deserving of a full album spotlight. And I think it was. I kept resting back on that, given my early months past introduction to them. It's only been for a short while I've been a fan, but as I've said previously, I have a special place in my heart for emerging artists, and I love studying them with you, as I do broadly speaking in general with music. I do think it is better enjoyed collaboratively. And with Never Obey Again, like any artist on this channel, but especially to their credit, it's been an honor to be introduced. I absolutely love the vision of this real fun. I'm going to set a baseline again for anyone who's not approached them yet, and I would recommend you introduce yourself to The End of an Era for the 7 pieces now that we've witnessed together out of the 10 on the album, with 1 instrumental in the beginning. I'm just recognizing the main 9 numbers. I can't wait for you to be introduced to this. In fact, your first step to Never Obey Again, or maybe the European rock and metal world, which is of such strength, as I've noted many times. An Italian modern metal group with this potency really has enamored me. And they're not the first, right? I think back to previous Italian modern metal experiences like Volturian, and there's also a strength there, also by the Scarlet Records attribution, where Never Obey Again, I believe, is, connected to. But I listened to their tracks many times. In fact, I've given these songs so many repeat listens. And I suspect these next 2 are about to humor will also be going by the same story. But I study the constructions of the instrumentals mixed with dominant rock mainstream tools and synth application from time to time, varying dominance and emphasis, mixed with such beautiful vocals on part of Carol. Her voice just amazes me. I love how natural her accent is at interweaving with the different tunes, especially that. I'm coming right off of To Take Care of You. That natural vibrato just really was a good accompaniment to the tune. But the pieces are incredibly well arranged and written with such a nice specified catharsis. I love that's present within the rock world routinely. So I'm sure these next 2 numbers are going to mimic the real strength of what's been preset by what we've witnessed together. I love this opportunity we have to enjoy Never Obey Again collaboratively in full. I do feel that this album was deserving of a full album spotlight, which is becoming a bit of a mainstay expression and outlet here amongst European metal groups specifically. I mean, yes, there's exceptions from time to time outside of that in other countries as well, but I've given European artists more full album spotlights I have really any others, and it used to be seldom employed by me in the beginning, but yet here we are. Times change, and you discover more groups along with time in your independent musical journey, and Never Obey Again, I feel quite honored to have been introduced and exploring their talents for myself, and I do hope the same is witnessed with you, and you sense that connection, the effect that they become a mainstay listen on your playlist as well. They certainly have with me, and I cannot wait to enjoy the remainder with you. Initiating now with Stronger, the follow-up to Take Care of You, which that song really set us going forward on a nice, strong note. So where is this piece going to go? And how I normally hate to rank things, but and I've liked everything on the album for sure, but there's a couple pieces that are standout favorites for me, and that last one was really good independently. So where will Stronger fit? Let's witness. This reminds me a lot of A Storm. It's designed similarly, especially with the electronic mood. It's incredibly reminiscent. It sounds like it's intended to be a bit of a follow-up. I'm not sure, but I think it cues that for me. It's gorgeous. And it's such a dainty touch with the accent, but it just works. The vocals are a real standout here. I love the higher inflection with those drifts. It's such a nice translation.
Guess what? I got these bare hands to find my way there. I push myself to gain some power, abused and sour. I feel my body slowly sinking. I've been pretending. I knew some sort
I like the feel of this.
to the point you could respect me. I let you get into my head.
It's almost like a rap rock tune. It's a little more subtle in the rapidity of the rap, but I like it. Fresh flavor. Each song is specified in some way. High reflection? That's beautiful. That's gorgeous. Love those hits, that works well. It might feel married to the storm, but it departs in its own smaller ways, but it works. It's beautifully distinguished. Incredibly intricate. And we're going to end just on a rock breakdown. That works. We already had the vocal wrap up, so it makes sense. So that track marks our doorway of being halfway through the album. It's interesting to see where it's placed though. Like I said, there's a reminiscence to this. Sometimes you might find a group that would decide to make this like the concluding work, and this is sort of stuck in the middle because it is so reminiscent to not only the introduction, because the instrumental piece is so similar on, well, it's basically an open door to the storm, but to the storm as well. It's an earlier wrap up to it, but it does feel like an accompaniment. Though again, as true to every single track on this album, it is individualized in some manner. It might have a close resemblance that you experience immediately to The Storm, given the similar riff patterns, the key choice, even some of the vocal aspects, the synths. There are key attributes that are defined between works mutually that make them parallel associations, obviously. If you witnessed The Storm before, you immediately notice this. But it's in the intricacies of the song that you see the departure, especially on reflective study of it. The choices here, they're very intricate on occasion. Some are a little more prominent than others, but there are ways that this song feels, again, specific in its own manner. Like every piece in this album, that's a declaration. And I've said this in the past with emerging talents, right? When you have this wide palette offered on an origin point, if you choose to follow up with a group at a later date and to study their evolution, which I intend to if the Never Obey Again, should more come out, and like I've said, with any group on this channel, open door policy, I am ready and waiting for more in terms of new developments. Of course, we have one more song to wrap up our journey together for the completion of the end of an era, which I'm looking forward to immensely, like I have all these pieces. But when that wide palette is offered, you have an area of consideration in which to study, this is where the group could go in development. So I look at this song again, in each piece, and I see those points of differentiation that make each work or song independent from the other, that you see where the canvas can be exercised down the road. And I feel with this song, again, true to all their pieces, beautiful rock tone, Great vocals. The choice to linger Carol's voice at the end, make it a bit of a trail on the higher inflection, I absolutely loved that. How it drifts. It's just such a nice transitional element. It's very even. So again, if there is a close association to be made with The Storm, Stronger still departs in its own manners. For example, even more so beyond just what I've recognized, that spoken word like verse in the center, kind of like a pseudo rap in a way. I don't know. If you're familiarized to different types of, and the music world, especially in the metal landscape, is so varied. I don't know. I got like a Falling in Reverse vibe. Though, albeit Never Obey Again, by comparison, it's not as rapid as like Ronnie Radke's They're From It is. Falling in Reverse is American-based. You've never humored them before. Great band. I love their work. It just reminds you, not even just Falling in Reverse, like NF also comes to mind. Different artists within the rock and metal sphere that have interwoven rap. I've not always been the biggest rap guy, but I find it kind of a funny element. I wasn't expecting it to come up in this song. Like, you think of The Storm immediately. That kind of has a reminiscence, but there's a fresh life with this song in Breath. Because even that had a bit of a spoken word, I'm going to call it a tangent, just for lack of a better term right now, but this takes on more of like a rap artifice. It keeps it in that mood where momentum is breathed into each word. It worked. I like the emphasis there. Again, fresh song, even if there's an association to be made immediately. And I find it interesting, again, to have such an immediate wrap-up. It's different, but it's fascinating, isn't it? As I've said many times, I love seeing exercise originality, and that's not a trait that I've seen paralleled among other talents that readily. I think that choice was very creative, but it's cool to have a song that's so reminiscent of our previous experience with The Storm, if we've, in fact, again, humored it, perhaps mutually or on our own. Immediate resemblance of the number with fresh deviations. Another dynamic work, though, for sure, as every track on this album has been. I'd love to hear if an opinion is shared of you down below, and from whatever vantage point you come from, right? Long-standing fan of theirs, or the time they've been around, or fresh initiate listener. I would love to hear about your opinion on The Stronger. The Stronger? See, I'm really mixing up numbers now. Again, association that's clearly evident, to the point that you confuse them, apparently. One more track to go on our journey together through the end of an era, but it's been a great album so far, and Humoring Never Obey Again with you. Wonderful ride we've taken. I've loved being introduced. And Stronger's just another great fit to my playlist, in my opinion. Every track on this album has gotten that regard. I'm sure Underdog will be no different. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.